Hello and welcome to this presentation of FolioWrite Pro in detail. My name is Roland Lannuzel and I'm a product owner at 40. I've been working for 40 for over 20 years now. So welcome again. We're going to talk about FolioWrite Pro documents. What are they? What do they contain? How do we manipulate them? Etc. So as a reminder, I'd like to remind you that FolioWrite Pro documents are objects and they are saved inside object fields in the database, and when you manipulate them in memory you have to declare C objects to hold these FolioWrite Pro documents. As always, all objects, they have properties. Some of them are visible, but not all of them. At least only a few properties are visible. The most properties and content of FolioWrite Pro documents are invisible, and they have to be manipulated with the language dedicated to these documents. A couple of them are interesting anyway, like the author, subject, title, company, and note that are created automatically by FolioWrite Pro. Each time you have new document of FolioWrite Pro, you have an author, a subject, title, company, note, etc. These attributes are readable and writable, so you can feel free to use them to set up whatever you want inside these fields, these attributes. And some others are read-only, like creation date, modification date, and document version. Just a little note here about modification date. It's the modification date of the document itself. If you also have a modification date in your tables, they might be different. If you only modify the fields and record your record, and without touching the document itself, these dates might be different. So just beware of this. Some other properties are available, like column managing, DPI, default font, border settings, background settings. Margin are a little bit more interesting to take a moment to speak about them, because we have two kinds of margin in FolioWrite Pro documents. Margin buttons and padding buttons, left, right, top. Margin and padding are different when you're in embedded mode. Embedded mode is just like web mode. And when you go to page mode, it's page first, page height, so it's page margins left, page margin right that you have to manage if you want to modify the attributes directly using the FolioWrite Pro documents. So this is different. And finally, there is something interesting too. You have what I call meta attributes. It's kind of attributes that are not real, but that allows you to set up 4 attributes at once. If you want to set up the same width for border, right, left, top, and bottom, just use border width. It will set up the 4 documents for you at using only one command and one attribute. So let's have a quick demo about this. This page here, I have a FolioWrite Pro document that I can switch from landscape to portrait mode using this checkbox. I can also change the margin here at the bottom or at the top. And I can also set up, let's say, the zoom, either with this list or with this slider. Okay, how can we do this? Let's have a look in design mode. So I have a document here whose name is WP area, and on this checkbox here I only have the WP area dot page orientation as variable expression, and that's it. The only fact to modify the value of WP page orientation, 0 or 1, switches the orientation of your document. For the margin, it's almost as simple. Here I have a little script inside, so I still use WP area. This time the attribute I'm going to set up is margin, page margin bottom, so it's page margin because I'm in page mode. So I just type string of self, which is the ruler, plus millimeters. So this is because I'm working on millimeters, but you could also use centimeters, inches, or point, PG. So that's easy. What about zooming? So inside here I have also a script, but the script does not modify any attribute of the document. It's only a view property that you set up of your what is on the screen. That's why I used the star and the object name here, not the document itself. And I set the zoom scale, the zoom value here. And if you try to find this attribute inside the document itself, you will not find it just because it's not a document attribute. It's only a view property. So this is, you have to be very careful about this. Know what you're manipulating. So let's pretend we have a table, a document with a Write Pro object on the second place, and we have fields, author, company, titles, notes, etc. So as we saw, these fields are already present as attributes inside for the Write Pro document. So you may consider trashing all these fields and use attributes instead. So what you have to do is just to remove the fields, and before removing them, of course, you have to insert them in for the Write Pro document. But at the end, you will gain 7 fields and 7 index removed. Of course, if you will plan to use these attributes for queries, do not forget to add an index on the for the Write Pro document itself. Do not hesitate to do this because only the visible attributes will be indexed. It's not the full document. So let's have a demonstration about this too. Here on the screen we have a list of for the Write Pro documents available in our database. In the center I have the for the Write Pro document itself, and at the bottom here I have a couple of information. So as we saw, and as you guess, these are not fields of the database, it's only attributes of the for the Write Pro document. So I have titles, I have author, subject, company, notes, and also date creation and date modified. So of course you can use these fields for queries. Let me give you an example. If you try to find the documents made by Gerard Tree, you get them obviously. And you can also query by date modified. If I try to find the document that I've modified today, here is what I have typed. That modified is Mars 24. But what you have to query, and this is the only thing you have to be careful about, date modification. As you can see, that modification is a timestamp in GMT format. So you have first you have to and it's a string. So you have to query between string 1 and string 2 that are based on your date in ISO date GMT format, and the date plus 1. Here it's plus 1. Also in GMT plus 1. So you have to query greater or equal to first one and lower than second one. So this is a query string when you use order, but of course you can use the same values with regular for the queries when you use query by attribute. So this is the only thing you have to know about dates. Just be wary about this. But there is more. That was easy, but not fair. What we can do also is query, for instance, by keyword. Uniform. I want to find all my text that contain these words. Okay, I think I misspelled something. Advanced uniform. form. I know I have some. Yes, I do. So here, as you can see, I found all my documents with the uniform inside. I can also make queries about bookmarks. I know I have somewhere a bookmark with conclusion. Okay, where are my documents where I have conclusions? Query, here it is, I got one here, and if I go here to bookmarks, here is my bookmark. What else can I do? I can query for style sheets. Okay, same kind of things. I'm not going to demonstrate everything, but might be interesting. I want to find documents with pictures. Here they are. Yes, pictures, pictures, pictures. That's cool. And I can also query documents with tables. Here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, where is the table here? Can you see it? Okay, now I guess you can see it. So how is this made? Well, this is quite simple. When I save my document, I'm going to trace my code, save. I've written here a method called updateExtra, where I will save everything I need to make my own queries with my own data, with stuff that I'm interested in. So I send the document as an object to my method. First thing I get is all the text, the raw text from my document. Then I get the keywords from this text using the getText keywords, which is a regular command from 4D. I transform this array to a collection, and I set this collection as an underscore keywords attribute of my document. Okay, so I do the same for bookmarks, the same for style sheets, etc., etc. And then to save the information has my document pictures, tables, and formulas. What I do is I just get all the elements of type image in a collection. If the length of this collection is greater than 0, that means that my document has pictures. Same goes for tables. Here I have tables, so my collection here has a length greater than 0, so as tables is true. I could have said has table equal false, but exactly the same to remove the attribute itself. Doesn't matter, really. And same for formulas. I use the WP get formulas that returns all the formulas of my text. If I have at least one, has formula equals true. So that's the way you can make queries with other criteria and other attributes that have been created by 4D Write Pro. So do not hesitate to add attributes in your 4D Write Pro documents. One thing I have to say is about the underscore. Why did I name all my attributes underscore something? It's just an insurance to be sure there will be no conflict between attributes that may have been created by 4D Write Pro itself. So when you use underscore, you have the guarantee that you will not have any conflict, because we swear that we will never use attributes names underscore something in 4D Write Pro. So let's have a little recap here. Here we have 3 groups of columns. The first one is the very first one with the 7 fields and 7 indexes. Second one is only with one field for the Write Pro and only 2 indexes. Indexes is for the ID, so it's one in common. It's only 1 field and 1 indexes left. And the third one is the same thing, plus the extra data that we have added in the document itself, like keywords, indexes, the style sheet indexes, the bookmarks indexes, etc. Have pictures, has tables, etc. So in the first case and in the second case, the data size is almost the same, but the size of the index is obviously smaller. And in the third case, we have added data, so of course the size of the data increases, and also does the index data. But as you can notice, compared to the first one, it's still lower than in the first case. So is it a best practice? Should we do this? Remove all the fields and use object fields only? Of course not really. It depends on what the condition you're going to use your database. If it's in single user mode, why not? It's possible. It will work really fine. But if you use a client-server environment, then you might consider keeping some fields. Why? Just because when you display attributes like title or subject in a list box, 4D needs the full object in order to display even a single attribute of this object. So the full object has to be sent from the server to the client in order to be displayed. So in this case, you might consider keeping title and subject as actual fields in your database and just remove the other fields and use the attributes of the For the Right Pro document instead. So you have to be aware of this. Okay, we are jumping to another subject. What does a document contain? What is it made of? A body, that's obvious. What is not obvious is there is only one body in your document. Whatever the number of pages, the number of paragraphs, the number of sections in your document, you only have one body. Sections is almost the opposite. You must have one section in your document. You do not have to worry because For the Right Pro will create it for you, but you cannot say I have a document without section. It's impossible. You have at least one. What is optional per section is the capability to have headers and footers inside sections. Headers and footers are optional. You may not have them, but if you have them, you can also have options like have different headers on the first page or on the left page or on the right page. Same goes for the footers. You have text in your documents, that's obvious, but you have many of them. And text has attributes like bold, like font type, like style, like margins, like whatever. You have any kind of attributes for the text. For the text in a large way to speak, like paragraphs is text. You also have style sheets. We'll come back on style sheet a little bit later. Style sheets are made for paragraphs and characters. And you also have bookmarks. Bookmarks is a new concept in For the Right Pro. It's only parts of your documents that are named. So you can give any name to any part of your document. You also have tables. Tables are really new for the Right Pro, and the new thing is tables can now be manipulated by users. The interface, this slide is already obsolete because more and more buttons are visible now in the interface for the Right Pro. And you also can create your own because we have a lot of automatic actions that are available for tables, not only for add or remove columns or insert or remove rows, but you can also define any kind of attributes like the background color of tables, of rows, of cells, the width of the borders, etc., etc. You can do almost anything. Of course, it can be moved by the users. I have something to tell about tables, which may seem obvious, but it's not. Tables contains rows and cells, and that's it. Tables do not contain any column. They appear to be as column, but it's not column. It's just a bunch of cells. So if you want to manipulate columns, you have to be careful. Another subject is breaks. Breaks are convenient and are very useful. But you have, I think we have 5 kinds of breaks. Let's enumerate them. You have paragraph breaks and line breaks. Beware, it's not the same thing. When you create a paragraph break, obviously you have two distinct paragraphs, and when you use a line break, it's only a line break, it's still one paragraph. So it might be useful, for instance, in this case, if I had 4 paragraph breaks instead of 2 line breaks plus 2 paragraph breaks, I would have had 4 frames around 4 paragraphs distinct. So it's quite different, and if you don't know how to type a line break, just remind shift, carriage, return. If you use columns, there is also the possibility to add a column break if you want to force next paragraph to go to the next column. And if you use columns or not, you can also use the page break to force the creation of a new page in your document. And finally, you have the king of the breaks, which is the section breaks, that creates a new section. That's the only way to create a section. You insert section break. And once this is done, everything can be different from the section 1 to the section 2. The page orientation, the background color, the number of columns, the margins, the padding, everything can be different from a break to another. It's almost like if you had 2 documents linked together inside a single one. Okay, pictures now. Pictures are sometimes confusing for many people. Trust me, what I get from this tech support or from the forum, it's when people talk about pictures, it's a little bit blurry. So what kind of pictures do we have? First of all, we have the background pictures. The background pictures have been there since the beginning for the Write Pro. Background pictures can be used in background of documents themselves, or simply of a paragraph, or even a picture. Yes, the picture can have a background picture. If your picture has an alpha layer, which means it's almost transparent or semi-transparent, you can have a background behind this picture. And these pictures are set using the set attribute. It's an attribute of your document, your paragraph, or your pictures. And it can also be a simple URL that is a text that can be used as background picture. And also we have inline and anchored pictures. Inline pictures, you can just, when you paste a picture in your text, it's in the flow of the text. So when you add text, the pictures move, etc. And this can be done by programming with WP insert picture inside your text. And you have anchored pictures that are usually in the background, behind the text, that can also be pasted then sent to the background, and they are independent of the text. They stay where they are. And this can be done with the command WP add picture. So if you don't remember if it's an inline picture or an anchored picture that you want, can't remember if it's insert or add, I have a mnemotechnic to remember this. Insert, inline, add, anchor. Just remember in, or a. That's the way I remember it. I hope this trick might help you. And in both cases, if it's anchored or inline pictures, the result, the pictures can be the result of an expression for the returning an image. It works in both cases, at least in V18, and I think it's since V17 Air 4 or something like this. Okay, next subject is ranges. Ranges is something new in Write Pro. It's not new in V18, it's been there since the beginning, but if you're just coming from Write, ranges might be a little bit surprising for you. What is a range? It's not a text selection. If you used to use with highlight text in Write Pro, in Write, sorry, whatever, if the area is online or if it's an off-screen area, Write used to manipulate text highlighted text. Write Pro does not. Write Pro uses ranges, so it's not text selection. A range is an object created by programming. So what kind of ranges do we have? We have text ranges, we have picture ranges, table, paragraphs ranges, mainly 4. And ranges can be created based on user selection, and the other way works fine too, or based on a bookmark name. Just remember, bookmarks are parts of your document that received a name. You give any name to any part of your document. And you have 4 main types of range that are returned by specific commands. Text range, selection range, bookmark range return a range of type character. or type default. Type default and type character, it's the same thing. I insisted to have a type character because type default was meaningless for me. Character is more clear, in my opinion. So, but the value of the constant is the same. We have picture range that returns a type image range, table range, and paragraph range. And we also have what I call 3 subtypes of range: type row, type cell, and type comments that are returned by the commands of tables: get rows, get cells, and get comments. This might be useful if you want to set the backgrounds of a row or a table. All right, comment. Okay, let's have a game about ranges. Many of you may have had this kind of problem, so I think that it's quite important to speak about it and make it as clear as possible. In this example, I have text selected by the user, so I create a character range based on this selection. So it starts at 136 and ends at 928. And in this range, I have 2 pictures. First picture is located as 538, and the second picture ends at position 744. So starting from this character range, I create a picture range. So I got a picture range with 3 attributes. A range has 4 attributes. One of them is not displayed here. It's the owner, which is the document itself. But all ranges have a type, a start, and a end attribute. So when you have a type character here, I retrieve the same values as on the pictures on the left, sorry. And I create a pictures range based on this character range. So what will be the start and the end? Well, the answer might be disappointing, but it's the same. It does not change. Only the type changes, but the start and the end does not change. Let's have another example. This time we have a short selection of text inside a paragraph. Starting with a short selection, we're going to create a paragraph range that intersects this selection. So as you see, it starts in 207 and then 233. That's the selection of the user. Where does the paragraph begin and where does the paragraph end? Well, you will not get the answer either using the change of type of range. So the rule is modifying the type of the range does not modify the attribute, the start, and dot end. Do not feel any bug. It's normal, it's standard behavior. So, but what? I really need to know where does my picture start and where does my picture end inside of my selection. So this can be done by programming. A very few lines of programming allows you to do this. You create a selection range as we did previously. You get the element of the type you need, in this case type image. You get the length of this collection. If the length is greater than 0, then you get the start from the attribute dot start of the first element of your collection, which is 0. And it's the ID of the element, I mean. And the end is the dot end attribute of the last element of your collection. And in this case, you get really what you want to know. Same goes for the paragraph here. Get element of type paragraphs based on your char range selection. And same, if you have at least one paragraph in your collection, you get the dot start from the first element, the dot end from the last element. And it will return you the right values. Okay, let's go on the next subject, which is style sheets. So just a couple of short words about style sheets. We have 2 types of style sheets. First one is a character style sheet, where we can define the font family, the style, the color, the background, the transformation, like uppercase, lowercase, etc. And we have paragraph style sheets. Paragraph style sheets includes all the attributes that can be set on the character style sheet, plus border, margins, padding, tabulations, a border width, border color, whatever you want. And I think paragraph style sheets are way more used than character style sheet. Character style sheet may be used for just to give a style to a specific kind of words or first letter of paragraphs, maybe something like this. So let's have an example here. In the left page, we have 3 style sheets: chapter, title, and title 1, title 2. And based on these style sheets, what I would like to do is to create a summary. It is a very recurrent question. How do I build a summary from my document for the Right Pro? So we're going to see an example about this. The summary will have its own style sheet: summary 1, summary 2, summary 3. And based on every paragraph which owns the style sheet we named will be used to make this summary. So let's have a little demo about this. In this text, in this For the Right Pro document, we have some style sheets. Style sheets are used for chapter, title 1, and title 2. This document is exactly 37 pages, and we want to make a summary based on these style sheets. What we want to get is this. Okay, I will remove this later. Okay, this is what we want to get. We want to have a summary with parts, with the name of the chapters and the sub-chapters, and the sub-sub-chapters. So how can we do this? We're going to trace the code and see what we have done here. Okay, I have created a command named build summary where I send 3 parameters. I send the document, the full document itself, and I also send a collection of the style sheets we want to use to base our summary, and a collection of the style sheet we want to use for the summary itself. So let's go inside this method. So the first thing I get is the document. First thing I do with the document, I try to find a summary and I remove it if it already existed. Then I'm going to make 2 loops inside this document. So first thing I create is create a new document called summary. So the WP new is to create a new For the Right Pro document. So this summary now is a For the Right Pro document with a couple of attributes, etc. But you don't have to care about it, it doesn't matter. Okay, first thing I do is I import the style sheet from the original document. And I get all the paragraphs of my document. For each paragraph I get, I'm going to read the style sheet used by this paragraph. And I will check if this paragraph is inside my collection of style sheets that I want to use in my summary. If it's true, then I get the text of the original document, and I create the text for my summary, which is basically the title, ... and the name, the tabulation, and the name of the number of the page. And I set text, and I insert a break, which is a paragraph break, and that's it. And I set attribute, which is the name of the style sheet I want to use, based on it's a parallel, I have the title 1, and I want to have the summary 1. And I do this for every paragraph. So at the end here I have my summary document, which is a little bit bigger now. And what I want to get is the position of the last page of my paragraph. So I can see here in all page I have the value 2. which I save in a shift variable here. And in the second loop, in the first loop, shift value was 0. So now I can add this shift value to my page number of my document. So I know that my document, my summary will all 2 pages at the beginning of the document. So I have to add 2 to every page of my document, because this summary is going to be inserted in the original document at the end. So let's run this. Okay, now we're done. So I get the summary range where it's the place where I want to insert my document in my original source. I insert document summary where I want it to be inserted, and I just insert a page break, and that's it. And I create a bookmark on my summary, sorry. And that's it. So it's quite easy. Just call a method and you create a summary at the beginning. Of course, it's easier to create a summary at the end. It's more table of content in this case, because you do not have to know how long will summary will be, how many pages it will take. So you can just add it at the end and it works fine. In this case, everything has to be shifted, because the document is now 39 pages, and of course the summary has to take this into account. There's something more we can do. We can add links on the summary. So this is quite fun here. I'm going to trace again. I'm going to build. Basically, it's the same. It's another method, build summary with links. In this case, what do I do that we did not do in the first case? Here it is, and build summary, get attributes. Okay, it's a break, where is it? Okay, that's the interesting part here. What I create a range inside my summary based on the position of the paragraphs that I found in my original text. I create a bookmark on this place, and I create, here is the new bookmark that I create in my original document, and I add a link to this bookmark in my summary. So here is the result. I have the links here on the numbers, on the number page numbers in my summary, and it works really fine. And I click on 11 here, up jumps the page 1 in my summary. I can also create links on the titles if I prefer. Let's just do what on the full line, do whatever you want. You just have to create a link on the bookmarks. And of course, the bookmarks have been created here in your original document, so as the links can work properly. And finally, we have one more thing to show you. It's the HTML export. When you export to HTML, that's magic, because it still works. If you want to jump to somewhere, it works really fine. It works exactly the same way in HTML as it does in 4D, because the links are also exported in HTML. So the next example is something that has been requested for ages, is to give the ability to programmers or users of 4D Write Pro to create forms and create a kind of specific data based on the content of the form. So just imagine you have forms like this, or like this. I think I have a third example here. This is the most obvious. They are all clear, but this one is more clear. Imagine you have such a form with a couple of cells or areas to be filled by the user. So you have the number, the receiver, etc. And you want to save, but what you need to save is only the values that have been entered in this form, no more, no less. So how can we do this? I'm going to show you a new demonstration, which is a proof of concept. I'm not telling this is the way you should do it. I'm just telling this is the way you can do it if you want, and if you like the concept. So let's have a demo. In this demo, I'm going to show you a couple of templates that you should recognize. And here is the first one. Here are other ones. So let's take on the official recept. Here I have areas that can be filled by the user, and I have also other areas that are protected. So this is a new feature in ForDerive Pro. You can protect either cells or paragraphs or full tables in your document. So when you go from here, you can use tabulation to go from a place to another one, and it will skip the places that are protected. But that's not the point. The main point is about enterable values, areas in your template. And let me show you the structure of this database. It's quite a simple one, but it's important to show. So the first table is templates with my ForDerive Pro document, sorry. And here is my data table with an object here, which is called save. It's a simple object. It's not a ForDerive Pro document. Just keep that in mind. This is quite important. So let's go test the applications. We have seen the templates. Let's go the data for now. And let's create a new record in the data table. So let's name it demo ZZ, for instance, and I'm going to create templates based on official recepts. So I create a new template here. Okay, and I'm going to type in a couple of values, like 999, received from Thomas Fox on the 1st January 2020. Okay, the amount is 1, so it's 100, and I have a bank check here, check number, here it is, and the amount is 200, that makes 200 here, and a total of 300, and the receiver is me. Okay, I'm going to name this recept, official recept 999. Okay, so when I go back to my official recept 999 here, as you can see, everything is kept filled, but this is only a variable. It's not ForDerive Pro document. It's a variable based on the template. The template here is what is saved in this record is only the object, where we have receive number, receive from, receive, etc., etc. If I want to add more, like DEF, something here, something different here, and let's add 100, so it makes 400. Okay, what I do here before saving, I save it to the save. That's what I do when I click OK. So what I did here, I just added a couple of attributes more inside my object of my data table. So how can this be done? That's quite easy. I hope you will like it. So let's go back to the template. Here is my official recept. As you may have guessed, I have created bookmarks inside this template. And here are the bookmarks. I have the receipt number, etc., etc. I have bookmarks for every enterable cell or paragraph of my document, which makes it very easy to use. And as you can guess too, the attributes of my object are based on the bookmark names. So create a new area and you will just have a new attribute in your object save in safe. And what is fun, if I, for instance, I go to people, I have other bookmarks, name, first name, address, etc. And the bookmarks names are other, so the different, so the attributes of the objects saved into data tables will be completely different. But it will work, as you will see. If I go to the data again, if I get a job, for instance, here are the name of the attributes saved in the object. And it's completely different of the object saved in the job. You see, the attributes are not the same, but they fit very, very well where they come from. Okay, that's it for this demo. I hope you enjoyed it, and I think this might give you ideas. I know you have already full of a lot of areas. We are very often thrilled by all the ideas our customers may have, but this might be one more that you might like. So thank you for watching. Take care and see you soon. Goodbye.